My name is Astrid Scholte. I'm a young adult fantasy author. I've done numerous courses at the Australian Writers' Centre, and I'm so excited to say that I am a published author. I'd always loved writing, but it had taken a bit of a backseat while I was working in film and pursuing my career. I'd started writing YA novels back in 2006, just after I'd read Twilight, and I thought that this was the same kind of story, but along the same audience, and something paranormal and something that I would have loved as a teenager that I wanted to write. And I tried a few times to write a different story, but I usually would get stuck around 20 to 25,000 words. And I didn't know or have the tools to kind of continue with that process to see the manuscript through. So that's what really led me to looking at a course that would give me those tools and skills to push through to the end. So the first course that I signed up was for creative writing stage 1 and then eventually stage 2. And for me, it was just a great starting point of acknowledging that this was something I wanted to take seriously. It was something that I was investing my time into. The things I found most useful about creative writing 1 and 2 was actually being in a classroom environment with other people who had the same desires and aspirations to be published as I did. So it was just this exciting environment of all these creative people who were saying, this is something important to me and this is something that I'm going to invest my time into. And it was actually the first time that I shared my work outside of obviously when I was in high school and would write stories, but share my work with other people to critique and also to get that feedback through the instructors. One of the courses I found most useful in completing a manuscript was the Intro to Novel Writing, because it gave me that structure of a novel. So the 3-act structure, characters, the further development that you add on from creative writing, where you're learning to kind of just explore and be creative and maybe not be so critical into actually the structure of a novel and how you go about that. So that was, I think, the most important course for me to actually getting that first manuscript completed. I did History, Mystery and Magic over a weekend in Sydney, and it was just such a wonderful course because it really got my creative ideas going, and the tutor was so fantastic in getting you to think about what you enjoy in History, Mystery, Magic, and also what you can kind of add as your own opinion and your own kind of mythology, and just playing around in that world, which is something that I've always been interested in ever since I was a kid. I've been kind of drawn to the fantasy side of things. I enrolled in several courses at the Australian Writers' Centre, and each one gave me some sort of knowledge or skill or advice that I didn't know about whatever the topic was, whether it was creative writing in general, how to write a novel, how to write history, mystery or magic. And it really kind of gave me this general understanding and base for going out into the world with my manuscript and hoping to get published. So it also gave me a wonderful network of like-minded people who also wanted to be published and enjoyed writing. So it was just this really wonderful time where you set aside certain hours a week and you would go into this very supportive environment and learn about something that you're extremely passionate about. The tutors at the Australian Writers' Centre are so knowledgeable and wonderful. Not only have they been teaching for a really long time, but they come from the industry, so they can give you that insight that you can't really get from anyone else unless you talk to someone from the book world. And one of the other great things is you can keep in contact with the tutors once the courses are finished. So you get to keep that community alive through the Facebook groups. And yeah, it's just a wonderful network to have to support you through your writing career. I did envision myself being a published author ever since I was a young kid. I used to want to be an illustrator and picture book author. So that was something that I've been working towards, obviously not consistently, but ever since I was a kid. And yeah, the fact that I finally get to live that dream is a wonderful thing. If it weren't for the Australian Writers' Centre, then I would probably still be trying to write, be trying to break into the industry, and probably still be trying to finish that one manuscript that I could never seem to finish. Through the courses at the Australian Writers' Centre, I discovered that I could actually become a published author. I could learn the skills and the techniques that it took to finish a manuscript, and then the skills that it was then required to put that manuscript out into the world.